Welcome back to yet another video. The videos, okay, like this. Yeah, I hope you've had a good week from last week, and I hope you're doing well, or that you have the right support that you need in case you're not doing too well, or if you're doing well, that you have support anyway. Thank you for listening to my videos. Thank you for watching this one. It's super helpful for me to really do this. I think it's kind of brought me like consistency and really like commitment to sticking to it. I mean, I've been committed to writing this book for a year now, and there were a lot of things that kind of I brought into this journey, and there was always commitment there, and at the same time, like, yeah, things would happen, or yeah, I couldn't always like put as much attention to it as I don't know, maybe would have wanted to. So this, like, making those videos really gives me like a grounding point, or like something every week that I'm putting a lot of attention and care and effort into, and kind of shows me that, okay, I'm capable of doing this. And that's a really nice thing to learn. And I've actually this week started to to really get even more serious with the writing. I've collected a lot of things that I want to include in the book. I've already thought so much about the structure and how I want to do it, and I've started writing like little bits and pieces here and there. And now, like, I've started Monday and Tuesday to really bring those things into one place, and so that I can start writing. I think, like, I have already started writing, but like to really become more serious with it. And I'm very happy with how it's going so far. Yay! So thank you for being part of or joining me on this process and witnessing me. I appreciate it. I think it kind of started, or this came from last week's video, that after I uploaded it, I kind of felt insecure, and I thought, why? Like, I really questioned myself why I was doing this and what I was doing this for. And like, in this process of raising those questions, I realized, okay, I'm doing this because I really care about sharing those things, and I really care about anything that has to do with emotional intelligence and awareness of your inner things, your body, your feelings, and the different approaches. And just, I think those things are so important to become a more resilient, more capable person, like to work with the different changes in life, and to really, like, I did another video, like, before this I did a 5-minute video, but it kind of like was too chaotic, and I restarted it, and there I explained it, I feel like, very well. So now trying to find the words that I use there. I just feel like our world needs those topics, and we need to bring more awareness to this as a community, like, in general, not just in therapy sessions, or when you do like a workshop, or when you're really interested in this topic and read books about it, which are really important too. But like, in general, like, I think it's so important to just create more space for all the experiences that make up being human. And that's why I'm doing this. And I also believe that our stories, our own personal experiences and stories, really matter, and that they're like medicine for other people, so that other people see how we went through different struggles, how we managed them and found solutions or tools, and everyone is so unique and so different, but I think we can really inspire and encourage each other with our own stories. Yeah, so that's why I'm doing this, and I'm committed and excited as ever as I was before, and yeah, happy to share this video with you now. So the next lesson, the 6th lesson, I can't believe I have so many lessons. Impressive. And I actually thought today that one thing that's missing is like the aspect of community, and like how going through something together, like being accompanied by other people, how that is healing in itself as well. I don't have that in any of the lessons, but yeah, I'll see if I add another lesson or if I will just include it in the story to make, like in my process of explaining things, like to make sure that this is like highlighted. We'll see. I mean, I might change some lessons or something. This is just what I'm working with now, and I'll see how it turns out. So the next lesson is very it has such a long name. I don't know if I can't even like the YouTube video caption is limited to 100 letters. So I don't think I will be able to put it in the caption. I'll see how I do it. And I don't know if I will call this lesson that way, but it just explains it very well what I meant. So I will read it. Okay, slowing down when I feel stressed or activated. Sorry, slowing down to be extra attentive when I'm stressed or activated is way more helpful than rushing to a solution. Slowing down when I feel slowing down to be extra attentive when I feel stressed or activated is way more helpful than rushing to a solution. When I was reflecting on this lesson, I was thinking, I feel like every lesson kind of has the same, like it's kind of very similar, but like just a little bit different, like it's a little bit of a different aspect to like the bigger picture. But I mean, they all kind of tie together, so they're all kind of in the same area. And yeah, what came up for me was that like I was thinking about, okay, how did I, like, where do I come from? What did I learn growing up? And like, and I think it's interesting because the more I explain it or like talk about it, the more I am able to have compassion with with my family, like with my parents, with the people that influenced me when I was younger, because I can really see that they really did their best with what they had. And I used to feel a lot of resentment and anger, and that was very healthy. And I think in order to be able to forgive, you need to go through all those emotions and not like rush to, like in this lesson, rush to like wanting to resolve it or wanting to be able to forgive. Like those emotions are very important, and I wouldn't say like I'm completely at the end. Like things sometimes still come up, which is I think very healthy, and it's not that it's you're finished at one point, or that I don't remember what I wanted to say now. Yeah, so when I think about where I come from, like I grew up in this big family. My parents, they built a house when I was 3. Before that we lived in a small apartment with my 2 sisters, my older and my younger sister, and my parents decided they wanted to expand for this family and wanted to build a house. And I think I already talked about that. So they built this house, which meant it's like a huge financial investment. And yeah, they were responsible for 4 children. Like at the end, it was 4 children. And everything else that like came up in their life, and all the responsibilities and other things that were there. And of course, in that kind of environment, like, children need care and they need attention and they need very, very practical things like clothes, food, like, I don't know, they want to play, like they want their parents to hold them when they cry, like very, very, yeah, things that are just there that you need to tend to or take care of, or yeah. So like I grew up in this environment where it was about like finding solutions and solving things quickly, because that was what was demanded of my parents. And yeah, there was not really space to slow down, really. I mean, it's never like completely black or white. I mean, there were times where we were just like hanging out or slowing down, like, yeah, but I would say the general vibe or the general approach was like, okay, there's a problem, let's find a solution. Which, I mean, this skill is very necessary and very useful, or this approach is useful in a lot of situations, like when it's super important. Like there was like always, I feel like, this sense of urgency. Yeah, and so really slowing down was not really an option. And yeah, so it's so really something that I was kind of forced to learn when I fell into depression, or when my body told me, or shut down and said, okay, you have to slow down, like now there's no more asking politely, now we're like, I'm going to just make you slow down, whether you want it or not, or whether you choose it or not. And there was a lot of shame that came up for me, and a lot of guilt, because I associated slowing down or really resting, or really taking time to solve or to understand things I was struggling with. Like I associated that with failing and not being capable. I think that that's a big one, that I was not capable to just make a decision, to know what I want, to get on with life. Like I felt a lot of shame about the fact that my body just slowed me down, and that I wasn't anymore able to rush to any like solution. And I think it kind of slowly forced me to turn towards myself and not anymore towards like, because when there's like an issue that's on the outside and you want to find a solution that's on the outside, you're very much focused on the outside and not at all or rarely on your feelings or what it does with you or what's coming up for you. And this new way of being, like when my body stopped me, forced me to, instead of like wanting to find a solution for like a problem, I mean it was a problem that was kind of problem, like something that was in me, but I couldn't anymore rush for a solution. So I like had to slowly turn my eyes toward myself and towards like what was in there, and to be really present with what was there, or with what was present in me. And like I said, there was a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of feelings of failure, that I'm not enough, that that I don't belong, that I'm not capable, all those things. And yeah, because that's not what I had learned, how you approach life, or how you approach difficulties. And the interesting thing, I would say, like to say the least, is that we are not, it's just a fact that as humans there will be times in our lives where we need to slow down, or where our body asks us to slow down, and it's not something that needs to be fixed. I think I've said that before, maybe a few times even, but our bodies are so wise, and they really are doing their best to protect us and to adapt, or that's my belief, to adapt to life, or to circumstances, to adapt in a way to protect us and to be well in the end, or overall. That's the overall goal of our body. And a lot of like connections come up that I really didn't think about before, but I really want to talk about them. Okay, let's back up a little bit. I'm reading a book right now that's that describes the different jumps. Like, sorry. So my sister, she just had a baby this year, and they, like, her and her husband, they're reading this book, and I was really curious to know more about what's written in that book, and so I bought it and I'm reading it myself now. And it's about like a newborn until I think 14 months old, and how in that time the baby develops so much and really grows in their perception and in their capabilities, and their body grows, of course, and so they really grow. And they have those, all babies apparently, like from what they researched, they have very specific times in their growth where they make a jump in their capabilities, or in their awareness, or in their learning. And those jumps like kind of open up a whole new world of like a way of seeing the world for the children. And that's scary, like when they don't know yet what that is, and it's just complete, like everything feels new. It's really scary. And those are the times where they tend to like cry more, want to be closer to their caretakers, might have like changes in their moods more frequently, might have more difficulty sleeping, and some other things. Because of course, like, it's scary, something new is scary, and it takes time to kind of find their way around with it, and to kind of become comfortable in that new awareness. And then they like want to fall onto something that's that they know, that is comfortable, that is safe, and of course that is their mom or dad or like caretaker, and things that they are used to and that they've known for a long time. And like, it's so cool to read this book and to kind of see this. Okay, so if children go through that, and I'm sure we go through that, like if toddlers or if newborns go through it, we are going through it in our life as well, like the older we get as well. and maybe they're more subtle, or maybe they're not as intense, or sometimes they are that intense. And I was really reflecting on that time when my depression started, and I really felt like I really felt this way, like there was a whole new, like I was experiencing the world in a very new way. And that was so scary because I didn't know how to move through the world in that new way. And so I wanted to go somewhere where it's comfortable. Like I lived with, like I said, like with my family, with my parents. I wanted to be safe. I just wanted to rest. I mean, that's not what they describe what the children do, but like I felt very, it was scary and overwhelming, and it took me a while to kind of find my way around it with those things, with those new, like this new awareness or this new experience that I was having of the world. I feel like that's also maybe one of the reasons why I slowed down, why my body slowed down. I don't know how you can like put those two things together, like depression and like this stage of growth. I don't think it was only this jump that I had like in my growth. It was also that a lot of things came up that I hadn't resolved, and that I needed to kind of look at, or maybe I needed to look at those things in order to be able to live in this new way of seeing or being in this world. I don't know. It's a cool thought, I think. Okay. I think when we're faced with something that really activates us or stresses us out or really triggers us, it's very natural to want to respond to it or find some kind of resolution to it right away, because maybe it scares us, maybe it overwhelms us, maybe it makes us feel like really, really uncomfortable. And of course, when you experiencing something like that, you want to move away from it as quickly as possible. That's like the natural response. And and I think it's also not easy to slow down in a state like that. When you, like, I was thinking about how now I feel like it's much easier for me to slow down when I feel super stressed, because I have those moments in my daily life that I really dedicate to slowing down already. So I kind of have this practice of slowing down that I already kind of built this. I built this strength, or what would you call it? Like this muscle of slowing down. It's very counterintuitive to build a muscle for slowing down. In the times when it was like generally more like calm in my life, and so I kind of have this sense of slowing down already in my daily life, which really gives me something to fall back on to when I get stressed or activated. So, and I think before I didn't have that very much, so it was much harder for me to find ways to cope, or to actually remind myself that I can slow down when I didn't have that in my daily life. I'm thinking, like, there are two examples that I would like to share, but I think one I already shared, and the other one is maybe not so relatable, because you might think that it's a little bit silly. Hmm. Let's see. And I think it's really something that takes a lot of time to develop, because I think this really has a lot to do, like this lesson has a lot to do with nervous system regulation. And for me, or from my experience, regulating my nervous system after feeling like I've been in survival mode or in like activated state for such a long time. Like I think it had been my normal experience from life since I was born. That my nervous system was always kind of activated, and that I never felt really as calm as I could feel, and always kind of in a survival mode. And of course it takes a lot of time, and a lot of things come up when I try to regulate my nervous system and actually come to a place where I'm like, my baseline is being regulated and calm, and that my nervous system is okay and not activated. And of course, like that took a lot of time, because it's not what I was used to. And it was like a really conscious effort, because my default setting, or my default feeling in my body had been just this activation for so long. So it was very something that I had to learn to feel into, this calmness, or the sense of peace or grounding or calmness. And it took so many things, like meditation, really like consciously feeling into my body every day and feeling, okay, where do I feel tense, and relaxing my jaw or my shoulders, and doing breathing techniques, I think surrounding myself with people that or finding people that made me feel grounded or calm, that kind of could mirror that back to me, this calmness. Oh, now the music turned off. Music, grounding or calming music. So many things, and a lot of time, and a lot of dedication, and tending to again and again, and kind of having a lot of compassion with myself, that when I would feel frustrated, now I'm activated again, and it takes so much energy and time, and how do I come back to calm, like to really be gentle with myself, and to allow myself to fall into patterns that I used to have, that I used to use to ground myself, which actually don't really ground me, or don't ground me as much as other things could. A lot of time in nature. Wow, a lot of time in nature. I think in 20 for sure, 19, I'm not sure, maybe 19, but in 2020, when I came back from the clinic, because at that clinic, like it had been pretty like in the mountains, where you could go for walks easily, and I really noticed how good it's for my nervous system and to regulate myself, to be around nature, or to be in nature. And so I really committed myself to go on walks as often as I could. I think pretty much every day. I went on hour-long walks, and just noticed nature and felt, I don't know, just like this movement, like this continuous movement of walking, and then not having to focus on something, but just like being able to just be, and noticing how over time like nature changes, but it changes so slowly, and still it gets where it needs to go, and just like observing nature and feeling, I don't know, just the feeling in the forest is so, yeah, it gives you a lot of, or gave me a lot of peace and a lot of grounding. Yes, I think nature played a major part in coming back to kind of being able to regulate myself again and again. And it's a practice. It's nothing that you reach and then you're done, because there are so many things in our daily life that can trigger us or stress us out or make us feel overwhelmed. I was very, very used to this sense or this feeling of being overwhelmed. Like that was, and that was what made me doubt myself so much and made me feel like I'm not capable of doing anything, because I would feel overwhelmed all the time, like by the smallest things. And it really took away my sense of my self-confidence. And it's so interesting, because I used to be really self-confident when like talking to other people, approaching new people, being in new environments, being in those new social settings, or trying out new things. Well, depends. Some things I still didn't want to do, but I just avoided them and just focused on the things that I really enjoyed and that I was good at. And I was so outgoing, and I was just reading, I think, while I was like collecting the things to write, to continue to write the book, I was reading one journal entry where I was writing about how I think it was, that entry was in 2018, 17, 18, I think 2018. When I like had, when I was like quitting my studies, going to back to Tizzy, and coming back and living with my family, and feeling super, having no kind of pathway to follow, and just feeling everything, and being super tired, and having this huge pain in my chest, like so many things. And I wrote that, I think I was still in university then when I wrote that. I said that I felt so insecure about everything I was saying when I was around people, and 50% of the time wanted to apologize whenever I would say something, because I felt like it wasn't the right thing to say, or maybe too much or too little or something. Like I was so insecure, which was like a huge shift from who I used to be before that. And I was really like this person that I used to be before that really fell apart. Like it really felt like she was crumbling, and then there was this new experience of life coming, but I was so insecure in this whole thing because I didn't know how to handle it or how to live, and with this new experience, and being so tender and vulnerable, and having so many feelings, and feeling so lonely and hurt, and not really knowing what would be next in my life. I used to like always have a plan or something that I was excited about, that I was doing, that I was focusing on, and then at that time nothing, like things would come up that I would like try to focus on, but then I realized that I wasn't capable of doing them, or felt overwhelmed when I started pursuing them, and then I stopped because I felt so insecure and overwhelmed. yeah, and so I was kind of thrown back at myself again and again. And I think it was kind of life telling me again and again, just stop running, stop trying to find solutions, and just slow down and look inside and look what is already there or what is asking for your attention all the time. Yeah, and so that's how kind of I would say my viewpoint turned towards really being with myself, which is, I think, the biggest gift you can give to yourself in your life, and also the scariest thing, to really build a really strong relationship with yourself. And it's scary because you're facing like all the things that you don't like to look at, or yeah, I realized how much shame I was carrying about so many things, how insecure I was actually, how many masks I had put on that didn't feel true to me at all, if I was completely honest to myself. How many roles I'd put on that were not mine, or that were actually not true to who I was. So slowly, like, all the things fell away. And while I was building this new sense of safety in myself, oh my gosh, I was so much yearning for safety because I felt so unstable and insecure. And like, it took me so long, like now it's 2023, and I would say I started this search in 2018 of like, really, where is my safety and how can I feel safe? And home, wow, home was a big question for me. Because of this loneliness, I was like, where, like, how can I feel home? And it really took me a long time. And I would say now, like this morning, I was doing like my routine, and I was like doing my breathwork, yoga stuff, and I felt so home in myself. And I was really recognizing, okay, I've really created the sense of safety and home and grounding and belonging and stability within myself. Wow. And it took so long and so much trial and error and so many setbacks and disappointments, and yeah, I'm really proud of myself, man. Oh, that's a big one. Yeah, and the path really was slowing down, turning towards myself, and really like weeding through everything that was there that didn't have the space and there were not the tools, not the support, not the environment for me to be able to look at those things and unravel them. And so I kind of sorted through all of them, which sounds very nice and very easy. But with emotional stuff, it's not. It's very messy and very taking it moment by moment and just trying. And like with this lesson, it's so like, it's because I used to, because like I said, I what I knew about life was, okay, there are some things stresses you out, so you try to solve it right away, and like you focus on the solution. And instead, because I couldn't find a solution quickly, or because I was too overwhelmed to be able to pursue a solution, I had to learn to like just let it be for a moment and just look at, okay, in this moment, what actual practical tangible thing can I do to take care of this sense of stress or this sense of overwhelm or this feeling of feeling lost. Like, what small little thing, like in the last lesson, the little things make the biggest difference. Like, what small thing, like, may it be just to make myself a tea, or to just go outside and take a deep breath, or maybe I just need to eat something because I haven't eaten something for a long time, and this stress, like this, the fact that I haven't eaten something makes the stress even worse. Or to just write down what's stressing me out, and to kind of realize, okay, it's this and that and this, and to just pour it out and have it on paper, and not to have a solution right away. And sometimes while I was writing, I was realizing that all I needed in that moment was just like some reassurance. You're doing great, and it's okay that it's messy right now. You don't need to have everything figured out, and you're allowed to have fallen apart a little bit in this aspect of your life, and you're allowed to not be perfect. Like, just this reassurance, and to change the way of speaking to myself in a situation where I wasn't feeling like I was put together, and to just like this reparenting thing. I will come to that in another lesson. Find ways to speak to myself in a very compassionate way, and that sometimes changed my whole experience, my whole feeling, because growing up, seeing how things were handled, like, I felt like I had to be able to what's the word? I don't think I'll find the right word in English. Like, that I had to be able to do that as well in order to be valid or to be loved and worthy. And if I wasn't able to do it, who was I, and was I even worthy of love? And so, like, to find new ways to frame that for myself, and to frame my expectations for the phase of my life that I was in, and to really, like, those are really small, very subtle things, and at the same time, like, really necessary to calm the stress, and to learn about myself, because if I would have rushed to a solution, which wasn't possible anyway at that moment, I would have never been able to look at the deeper workings of why I was feeling actually so activated and so stressed. And now I really feel that every time something is stressing me, it's really an invitation. And I'm kind of like, now I'm very curious every time, okay, why is this stressing me out so much? What beliefs do I actually have about the situation or about myself that cause this stress? And do I want to have those beliefs, or do I want to change them, and how can I give space, really giving space? That's there are so many things that I still want to talk about. Wow, I didn't think I'd still have so much to share, but I really do. To just, I feel like it's very, you can show it, or I can show it very visually. It's like, there's something that's coming up that's stressing me on the outside, and like, either I could like run and try to get there where I want to get to, ignoring everything like that I'm feeling or that's coming up, like, let's just find a solution. And often it doesn't work, or if it works, it doesn't really resolve the things that are triggered or that are coming up. And then, like, the really, or what I feel like helps me now so much, or much more, is when there's something that's coming up, I like, okay, I recognize it, maybe I talk about it, and maybe already by talking about it, I'm like creating this space, like kind of like a bubble, where I can just be in this space and just unpack. And this space is really holding me, like, this space is saying, okay, there's no need to get to this point right now. Like, right now it's just to be and to feel and to acknowledge what is there and whatever comes up. And in this space, like the most prioritized thing is to calm my nervous system and to nurture myself and to really be present for myself, for everything that I need in that moment. I don't know, make myself good food, maybe go for a walk while all of this stuff is unraveling and coming up. Maybe talk to someone that I trust. Maybe it's drawing something if I feel like I can't express it with words, or dancing or shaking my body, something that nurtures me and really makes me feel better in that space, in that moment. And then once all those things have come up and I feel like more calm and I've understood, or I have a new view or a new perspective on it, I can like step out of it. I don't know if I would say I step out of it, I don't know, because maybe I like keep walking and this kind of resolves like this bubble, because now it's like part of my life. I don't know if this makes sense, this visual. And I feel much more calm and I'm much more aware of what action to take next. And sometimes there is no action needed right away. Like very often, I know this in this video I'm talking in more abstract terms and not very practical. Like I'm not really giving a lot of life examples. Maybe I will, but for now it feels very good to talk about it in a more abstract way. Like oftentimes those things that come up are actually the things that want to be seen and heard and listened to and understood. And then, or from my experience, often they don't need a solution. They don't need a solution at that time or at all even. And sometimes the solution or the resolvement just comes from acknowledging what is there and learning from it. And then you understand, okay, I'm maybe more, I don't know, like I get to know myself more and understand more about myself and learn to have more compassion with myself, or learn something about myself that kind of makes me realize, okay, there are some things in my life that I can adapt to make it easier for me, or like for future situations when something like that comes up, I know I can do this or that or this to kind of make it more smoothly or prevent it, but I don't need to fix that situation now. Or like just, yeah, in my experience, sometimes it really doesn't need to be solved, except for like this space needs to be given for myself so that I can just, yeah, unravel what that brought up in me and grow through that, and then, yeah, really grow as a person. And yeah, it's something that really, I mean, I could have learned from when I was little if my parents had like modeled it to me, which I really understand why they couldn't. Like that's not the world that they were growing up in or that they lived in. But I'm really hopeful for the future that children could grow up with an environment that really helps them when something comes up, to not try to rush them to solutions, but to really give them space to figure out why it is they're feeling that way, or maybe give them ideas of how, I don't know, just give space for them. Okay. Anyway, it's helped me so much to honestly learn so much about myself, and to find really the beauty in those things that stress me out, and to find the nuggets of learning that I want to get from them, and to become a more stable and grounded person in myself, and to know what I need. Like, of course, like in this space, like where I try to nurture myself, when something comes up, like that space needed to be like developed, and still sometimes I'm really asking myself, okay, what can I do, and like like to build this space where I'm capable of holding myself in a very activated state, and have the tools and the space to nurture my nervous system and to calm down again. It's a much different approach than I've known or that I've learned, and it's super helpful for me, at least, and I think a very necessary and helpful skill to have. And I think it doesn't mean that the other one doesn't, like, to find a solution right away shouldn't exist anymore. Like, it's still important and necessary to have this skill, and I'm happy that I have another one now that kind of balances that one out. And of course that in order to be able to live that, it means that we have to take responsibility and learn how to regulate ourselves and hold ourselves in very uncomfortable situations or in uncomfortable feelings, instead of like maybe reacting or like doing anything that I think I could do in that moment. And that takes a lot of practice and a lot of self-awareness and a lot of bravery to feel it's really a bravery to feel and to acknowledge what you feel, instead of kind of, I feel like this running to a solution can also be a kind of a running away from, trying to run away from myself, or that's, looking back now, it makes a lot of sense to me to view it that way, because I didn't know how to hold myself or how to face my feelings or whatever was coming up. And I think this starting by really building a base of like a regulated nervous system, like really finding things that really ground you, make you feel calm. That's like the best thing I think you can do to give yourself a good base to stand on when feelings or difficulties come up. And I think that's all. And the interesting thing, like one more thing, is that different things stress different people. Like it's not that we're all activated or stressed by this one situation. Like it's all different for us, and like a certain situation can bring up very different experiences and like triggers for us, like for different people. And it's because we all have different pasts, and we all have had different experiences in our lives that really shaped us and made us see the world in a certain way. And that's why I think it's so valuable to look at, or to give space to, okay, why is this stressing me? Why is this bringing up so much feeling of overwhelm? Or like, because it can really give us insight into what is really, who am I, and why is this stressing me, and what is like, what is my experience with situations like this that makes me believe that now something bad is going to happen, or like anything that is stressing me so much. And maybe after having had those experiences, is there maybe a way that I can see it in a different light, or that I can be more hopeful, or maybe I can find ways to look at it that make me feel less stressed, or make me see the situation in a more clear way, where before I was just seeing it with the eyes from my experiences, instead of like looking at the actual details that are way less scary than I actually anticipated for them to be. And that can really teach us about ourselves, help us to have more compassion with ourselves and with our story and where we come from, what we have in us that makes us who we are, and maybe what we also want to walk towards, like what is like a new experience that we want to create, or a new experience of being in this world that we want to create in our lives, and then find little ways to do that. Okay, I hope it was understandable what I was trying to say now. I can't believe that I talked for almost an hour again. I can't believe that there's so much that I have to say. Thank you so much for listening and and being with me in this almost hour. And let's see where this journey takes us. I'm so excited to continue to write and to create a book that brings more light to those things that I care so much about and that I feel like are very necessary for our world today. And I wish you a really wonderful week until next week. And now the music stopped, perfect timing. And anything else? Just all the best to you. You got this, we got this, and we're always growing and evolving, and it's a really cool thing to be alive and to be human. Yay. Okay, bye. See you next week.